What are you doing? Burying my resentments. Hello. Yeah. Who doesn't? I'm holding on to resentment that weighs 1,000 pounds. Still on the fence about subscribing? Jump on over and you'll be able to take advantage of all the mistakes that I have made, and you won't have to pick up that first drink. But first, what's orange and sounds like a parrot? Wait for it. Give up? A carrot? Haha. What does it mean to feel resentment? Resentment, or the strong, painful bitterness you feel when someone does something wrong to you, doesn't have to be physical in weight, but it still has a very big impact and lasts a very long time. Forgiveness is one way to get rid of resentment. If you're getting value from this video, hit the like button down below, because every time you hit that like button, it keeps this video in circulation. And I'm telling you, if you feel like subscribing, go ahead and do it. I know I said it twice, but that's just because that's who I am. Now, a big resentment that I've been holding on to and that I had a challenge with this week was from one of my supervisors. And I know that sounds petty, but let me just fill you in on the backstory. This person, in my mind, had showed a favoritism to certain female coworkers, and they not only had lunch together on several occasions, they also had parties and things like that where I wasn't invited, and as an alcoholic, my ego immediately got affected. This was over 6 months ago. As well as the supervisor once asked me to go check on something, and I was busy at the time, so she opted to go look at it herself. Instead of just going to look at it like a very confident and competent supervisor would, she grabbed a person from another department who used to be in ours, and they were promoted to a different position. And I'm not saying certain details because I don't know, some of you know how that is too, where you mix your personal life with life at work. So, a long story short, that person was someone who got promoted not on their merit, but simply because of likership. So my brain says, and she grabbed that person instead to go look with her instead of having me go do it. Now, I felt a little bit jaded about that, and that spiraled into anger that resignated and stayed. And I held on to that resentment for a very long time. And it started to impact the way that her and I interacted, to the point where I just wasn't speaking to her whatsoever. The only time I would talk to her is when she would specifically ask me to do something, or I had to specifically ask her a question. Some of those responses were definitely heated, and you could feel the tension between us, and she could feel it as well. Where it started to spiral out of control was, this was just the other day. I had a response to her to where I told her, don't be looking over my shoulder, and she took that in a very offensive manner, which, I mean, okay, it kind of was. So she got really angry about it, or it affected her, and she called me to the back and everything else, and she sat down and asked me if I had a problem with her as a female being my supervisor or my boss. And really, I mean, that was far-fetched in my mind as an alcoholic, and as a person holding this resentment. I was like, this is some bull crap. She's trying to back me into a corner. Now, this 6-month resentment was building, and you could see the tension in my face. And I'm definitely, with my Trump hair and everything else, my emotions don't hide well on my face. And so she asked me if I had a problem with that. And the first response that I had was absolutely not. And I left it at that. She then further asked me if I had something going on towards her that was causing this tension. And I didn't even say anything. I just walked away. That sat on my shoulders for about 2 days. And as I thought about it, I thought to myself, I have to practice what I preach, because resentment can either lead me back into the bottle or cause me to do something else out of hostility. So I manned or womaned up, depending on how you want to see that. And it was actually yesterday that I asked her if I could speak to her, and I asked a female coworker to be there as a witness, just in case. You never know. And so I told her straight up, honestly and open. I said, look, these are the reasons that I've been feeling a little hostile. These are the reasons that I've been angry at you. And these are the reasons that we are not uh, working together well right now. And she thought about it for a moment. I think it started to make sense to her. Um, but for me, holding on to that resentment, it created all this hostility that was unnecessary. And I think letting all that go was probably a crucial step in our working relationship moving from this point forward, because holding on to that resentment could have led to a whole lot of different things. And I don't know if that's particularly in the best interest of myself or her. And I felt it was unfair to her to not know why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And therefore, I took it off my shoulders after asking my higher power what to do. And I think that it went well. And I think that from this point, we'll have a pretty decent working relationship, so long as I don't continue to hold resentments and I'm open and honest and willing to accept someone else's opinion, and or, you know what, just stick to my donut. I can only control the things in my donut, not the things outside of my donut, if that makes sense. And for me, that seems to work well. And for you, if you're an alcoholic or you're an addict, you could perhaps benefit from that as well. I haven't spoken to my father in decades, simply based off of the fact of how he treated me when I was younger. And I don't know if that's quite fair to him. Maybe, instead of just burying it like I told you in the past that I did, where I just cut him loose through a letter. And if you haven't seen that video, I'm not just an alcoholic. You can see it in the card above. Uh, by the way, I got a very specific reply to that, in which I'll tell you about in a moment. Making amends is part of dealing with the resentment. Not only forgiving the other person for a trespass against you, but you can forgive yourself for things that you have done to other people. I know that may sound petty to some folks, but if you are able to forgive yourself and move forward, as well as forgive someone else who's done something wrong to you, now you have to admit your fault in the things, kind of like in making amends. You can also see that card above. Um, if you don't do that, you're going to be stuck in a rut, so to speak, and it's very hard to get back out from that. Takeaway from this is, don't hold on to your resentments. Don't bury your resentments. And if something is bothering you with another person that they may not even be aware of, it's really your obligation as a person who is honest, open, and willing to take that step, admit your fault, and let them know what's going on before something spirals out of control. If it matters to you, then please take away from this something that you can do firsthand without burdening yourself with those resentments to the point where you're either going back to a drink, or you are just at a certain crossing road to where you don't know to go left or right. Ask your higher power, if you have one, for guidance if you can't come up with the answer yourself like I did, and perhaps it will come about. Behind me, I'm at Lichtenberg Castle, and this is an amazing view. I'm up this morning filming this video for you guys, and I hope that you get something from it. If you've gotten value from this video, hit that like button below. If you think I'm full of poppycock, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think about this. In the future, I'll be doing some co-videos with a person named Kevin. I'm going to leave his link below in the description. He's got some great YouTube tools that you can use in order to stay sober. And I like his mannerism of delivering his message through the use of tools and being able to relay and convey his thoughts on sobriety. And I think that you could benefit from it as well. So that'll be in the card as well as in the description below. As always, there are links below for you to reach out to somebody in Alcoholics Anonymous if that's your thing. If it's not, there are recovery numbers listed in the links below. Drop in there because there's a lot of valuable information that you could use in order to help you day by day. Lastly, I want to say I hope you have a very good day. And I know that my pauses are a little dramatic, but please deal with it because that's the way I think. Not everybody thinks the same. If you want to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. If you want to get a cool mug, like the One Sober to Another mug that I rock sometimes here on One Sober to Another, the link is in the description below at Streamlabs, as well as that's my new prop. I dig it. Anyway, yeah, you guys are awesome. So have a good day. That's it.